Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see you all gathered together this morning on a rainy, gray, and yet the answer to many of our prayers to get us some water couldn't be more timely with the fire in Parley. So, matter of fact, I have an app for my boat, and it shows cells, rain cells and all that with, if it's red or purple in the center, it's 2 inches per hour. It's crazy. Anyway, I watched that cell go right through Salt Lake and right up on the Eats bench and right down where that fire would be. So that's amazing. It was pretty cool to see. Anyway, nice glasses, Joe. Thanks for holding the tech down. Yeah, I got the blazer on this morning, and you know what? I just get grief no matter what I wear. Anyway, I'm glad that you guys are with me this morning. Welcome to coaching. I am, of course, your host, Will Cooper, and glad that we have a lot to talk about this morning. So check it out. I've got the notes from yesterday on sales meeting, which are reminders about a couple of code of ethics and some things we're seeing. And then I want to talk about some professional courtesies. And I didn't even put that in my email. Dang it. After I sent it, I thought, oh, shoot, I promised we were going to talk about that. So I think I will do that first. And then we're going to go to page 166 in the manual and talk about really some of my favorite topics because they're kind of quick, kind of shotgun approach. They're life lessons built around the hexagon principles. So I think it's going to be a great coaching session this morning. As always, the time seems to fly by. So let me start us off with this very practical, 2 days ago, I guess. I was speaking to Curtis Bullock, who is the attorney, a longtime friend of mine, and I've served a forms committee for 4 years with him and got to know him really well with my time with Stringham Schools. So he interviewed him a couple of times as a guest. Anyway, we've got a long history. And, he posted on Facebook some warnings that I thought were very pertinent. And it deals with over-aggressive offers that are being made. And I reminded everybody in sales meeting that we have a disclosure for this, right? Anyone want to tell me what the name of the disclosure is? Type it in the chat. So what's the name of this disclosure that can keep us out of trouble? Close, John. One more adjective to describe it. There it is. Mike was helping you out. Yep, it's the addendum to the buyer's due diligence checklist. It has some, it reminds everybody about the strategies we may employ, that they're their choices, things like shorter deadlines, earnest money, contingencies being removed, escalation clauses, things like that. Really important that you inject that into your discussion early in your buyer consultation. And just if you're still lead converting in your buyer relationships, meaning you meet somebody, what house can I show you? You show until they want to write an offer. And then you start, then you fill out the buyer broker agreement. I'm begging you to please stop that cycle, improve that cycle, and let's inject a meeting that has to deal with all the roles you play, the obstacles in front of them, and the entire process of purchasing a home. We'll call that our buyer consultation. That's a great place to have that due diligence addendum addressed. The other one was, I want to remind everybody, offers are not kept confidential when you submit them to the listing agent. This can be found in, I almost said an article of faith. Okay, you can't. Okay, it's cracking myself up here this morning. It is. Let's see. It's 113. Yeah, here we go. Let me just read it to you guys really quickly. It says the possibility that sellers or sellers representatives may not treat the existence of terms, conditions of offers as confidential unless confidentiality is required by law, regulation, or any confidentiality agreement between the parties. Of course, it's not illegal in Utah, so there is no state law. So it leaves us to whether or not the parties pre-agreed to confidentiality, which they hardly ever do. Matter of fact, I don't know that I've ever seen one, so I've never, 30 years, I don't know how many transactions that is, but it's a lot. Maybe it's like 100,000. I don't know. There should be a ticker, like McDonald's, 100 million burgers served. I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of transactions. I've never seen a confidentiality agreement. And thank you, Kim, for laughing. Appreciate that. It's a tough crowd on Zoom, man. You just got to self-entertain. That's really what it comes down to. You have to laugh at your own jokes, right, Mike? I mean, you just that's how you roll. If you can't laugh at your own jokes and be entertained, then let's move on. So that's the Code of Ethics 113 on there. There are no confidentiality agreements, so you can bet that the seller likely will share that information with other buyers. So we have to set the expectation with the buyer. That's the thing you do. Okay, you got to educate buyers on the process of negotiating. Those terms will not be confidential. They can sometimes be used to shop or to generate other competing offers against them. And that's just the nature of negotiation in real estate. The other one is misleading statements about whether or not you have offers received. So look, what we're trying to remind everybody here is everyone's taking that at face value. Do you have an offer in hand? And so be very, very careful. There are 2 new complaints last week from agents who suggested they had offers. They did not have offers. And this was after the buyer was under contract, submitted an escalation clause. The seller quickly took advantage of the buyer's desperation, I suppose, or over aggressiveness, went under contract. Then the buyer agent found out that there truly were not other offers. So this spurred a complaint. Okay, let me ask you guys, let's go one higher level. I'm curious if you understand this. If we're going to deal with legal issues in our business, we're going to get them from 3 different places. One of them is the Board of Realtors. Can you name the other 2 places? So one of them is an ethics complaint that comes from the board. There's 2 other places. Yes, Natalie, the public, I'm going to classify that as a civil lawsuit or just lawsuit. So Natalie's right. We'll call that. And then the other one is, John, thank you, the division. So we look at 3 different issues and we're protecting you and us against, legal challenges. Code of Ethics or Board of Realtors, the state of Utah and the governing rules that the legislature passes to govern real estate and agents. And then the last one is a civil lawsuit or coming directly from the public. So 3 different areas. Okay. Any questions about that? I was going to get into some professional courtesies like do's and don'ts that came up, just some reminders from last week, but I'm just checking to see who's on the call. And all right. Okay. No questions on that or comments? No? Okay. Natalie, thank you so much for just like responding and being a good communicator. You're great. Okay, here we go. Professional courtesies. Let's talk about a don't that came up. Yeah. Hey, Natalie's setting the example, folks. She showered. She's goal achiever, high level producing person here, highly motivated. She showered. Congratulations. And Sharon showered, and Nicole showered, and Linda showered. I could go on. Stacy, you guys look great. And oh, wait, Joe showered too. Trenda showered. I could go on, okay, here's the showered group. Okay, professional, like, don't do this, get you in trouble. Don't call the other side, essentially, and have you on speakerphone. Why is this a bad idea? I mean, have you ever been on the other end and someone goes, "Oh, you're on speaker," and really what you were just saying was now heard by, say, the buyer's agent's client or the listing agent's seller, and then they tell you, "Oh, you're on speaker." Yeah, you really feel exposed. You're kind of caught off guard. perhaps you would have, worded it a little differently. If you're communicating only to an agent, you're certainly going to phrase things a little differently. But if you're communicating to the public, you're going to change how you communicate. So it's a really bad idea to call someone and put them on speakerphone. Give them at least a warning. Like I'd call it, say, hey, John, I'm going to call you. Is it all right if I put you on speaker? And then that's like, well, is that even okay? Because what's John going to say? He's on speaker already. So you're still putting him on the spot, right? So asking for permission, this is my note here, even asking for permission should be done privately. So John can really say, well, what are we going to talk about? Like, what are we trying to solve here? So look, sometimes I think in the heat of the battle, we get a little knee-jerk reaction and we're like, well, I'm just going to, I'm going to call the listing agent here. I'm just going to call him, I'll put him on speakerphone. You can listen to what they have to say. It's kind of like placing the blame for whatever the challenge is on the other side completely unfairly, and we catch them off guard. So how about we not do that? Okay. So it's not a good practice. It's not a code of ethics. It's not a violation of state law or anything like that, or a rule, but a professional courtesy for sure. Here's another one, just a reminder, like, don't put your client in the room with the other side when things are emotional or heated. Believe it or not, a couple of weeks ago, we had this issue. It came up. It turned out very bad. It escalated quickly. Yelling, cursing. Yep, it happens. I'm not making this up. It hurt some feelings. We're still dealing with hurt feelings. I just, let's try not to do that. And I can't look to defense of what goes on here is that we have to remember as agents that we're dealing with other people. Like don't blame the agent for what the client wants to do or does or doesn't do. Like we so often put the target on the messenger when the messenger is simply just that. They're repeating what the seller or buyer wanted them to say or do, and really we take it out on the agent somehow. Just another thought here. We don't have to make an enemy of the other side. It's not a good formula to blame everything that's wrong or challenging. Well, that's the buyer's agent, or, well, that's the buyer. These over-demanding buyers, or these unrealistic people, or, boy, they're just, anyway, blaming the other side makes you look bad and makes the whole industry look bad. So let's stay away from that. Mike, with the right crowd, cursing can be a positive negotiation tactic, or so I'm told. Hasn't worked for me yet, but I expect results one day. Okay. Yeah. Where's my Win Friends and Influence People book? I'm pretty sure here's how to get your way. Raise your volume. No. Probably talk softer. Use curse words. No, probably not going to find that in Dale Carnegie's book. How about telling people you're wrong? Do you think does that work? Can you just look someone in the eye and go, look, you're just wrong? Does that work? Never work. It doesn't work. I actually have one little caveat to that. It only works if the person who's hearing you tell them they're wrong knows that you love them. Okay, that's the only time that ever works. So I'm going to ask you, does that other person know? Like, if I said to my kids, I go, honey, I'm sorry, but you did that wrong. I probably get away with that with my kids, my grandkids, softly. But if I go to someone who doesn't know I love them, you're in trouble. Okay. Matter of fact, sorry, I'm gonna get a little Sunday school. Sorry, you guys, I'm sorry. But agreeing with thy adversary quickly. Why do we do that? Why is the counsel to be agreeable? Because the next verse was, lest they esteem thee to be thine enemy. I mean, if you're always disagreeing with someone, perhaps you're the problem in their life. You're the enemy. So be very careful of that when we're dealing with people. So All right, let me just review. Don't call people on speakerphone. Not a good idea. Don't bring your client into a room, especially when things are heated. That's a bad idea. And remember not to blame the agent for the things the client's doing. I mean, we're all trying to work together. I'm gonna add one more to this. It wasn't on my list, but it's something that someone told me years ago, but try to always be a calming influence. Blessed is the peacemaker. I can't stop myself. I can't. I am who I am. But blessed is the peacemaker. There's a promise behind that, but I'll stop. Save it for Sunday. But it's good advice, Be a calming influence in a transaction. Don't be the gasoline on the fire. We talked a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, about put the tennis racket down. If things don't volley back, just don't. That's the way you end arguments, right? It's just don't volley back. Okay. Well, that's my professional, courtesy tips for today. Let's see. Brokers, you got anything to add to that? Or spark a thought? Mike or Kevin, Craig or Sharon? Any thoughts?
Will, when I was just at convention, I went to a class and it said, you should always look for the win-win situation. Let everybody win, be collaborative. So that was the great words of wisdom that came from that. Very good.
Yeah, I think too often we say we're up against the other side. We have to, for us to win, they have to lose. Not the case, not the case. So very good. Thank you. And it sounds like UAR has been listening into our coaching sessions. So that's all right. That's okay. All right, that's good. Anything else, you guys, Mike or Craig?
Yeah, I'll add to this.
Okay.
When you're the broker, it's almost mandated that you are the peacemaker in many respects. Even when you're defending your agents and your agents are completely right and the other side's completely wrong and the other side is actually doing a horrible job, you can't go in there with a billy club and try to beat them up, because your goal is to solve the problem and get to a solution quickly. And if you beat people up, you will not get to a solution quickly, and it'll just create more misery. And so, yeah, and I would also add that if you're striking back because it'll make you feel good. You're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for any other reason other than I told them or I got to say this at the end of the conversation. Because it has nothing to do with you solving a problem. It has to do with you making yourself feel better because you've been hurt. So striking back is the most useless form of communication available to you.
Mike, when I've analyzed that, I think it's a temptation. The older I get, the more I realize the striking back thing or giving someone a piece of your mind it's really just a temptation. Because though you might feel like, I'm going to tell you you're wrong and I'm right, and I'm going to prove it to you right here and now about how stupid you've been, it doesn't really feel good as soon as you say it. And it actually gets worse as time goes on, because what we've done is we've destroyed a relationship. What kind of business are we in? I'm just going to say the answers quickly. We're in the people business. And with people, remember the saying, it's not what you know, but who you know? Well, it's not even who you know, but it's how you know them in the relationship with those people. The reason why we say it's who you know is because good relationships trump all the other items, because it builds trust. So if you blow things up with a heated conversation, you've just lost trust and you lost the relationship. And we call it, we burn that bridge. You never go back across it. And then you feel horrible after. You feel down and depressed, and it saps everything. So I think this thing about reaching out and giving someone a piece of your mind is just a temptation to do the wrong thing. It doesn't really have a lasting positive effect. But the older I get, if you guys have ever seen me in a really heated situation, I my voice gets really soft and I slow down. I try really hard not to volley. And I've had mad, let me phrase it in a question. You don't think I've had people call me up using the F word and berate me in my career? Yeah. So what you don't do is volley back, you know? So, and you know, I said this before, my dad said years ago as a kid, you know, son, somewhere up in heaven, there's a gold medal for the person who says, I'm sorry first. Not just says I'm sorry, but says it first. So he says, you remember that. You want to be a man? Go say you're sorry. That's being a man. You know, being a man is not saying I'm right and you're wrong. But let's see. Kim wants to say, is it Kim Casey, or let's see, how many Kims do we have? It just says Kim's iPhone. Kim's iPhone. You guys are killing me. I don't see Kim. Oh, it's Kim Phipps. Okay, where are you, Kim? Joe, can you unmute Kim Phipps? Oh, there she is. Okay. Asked to unmute. There you go.
Hey, good morning, Will.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to say something I tell myself when things get really difficult in a transaction that's really helped me a lot is to remind myself, I have a buyer that wants to buy and a seller that wants to sell. My job is to check my emotions at the door and bring the two together. So when things get difficult between the two, even if it's between myself and the other agent, that I just keep repeating that to myself. I have a buyer that wants to buy and a seller that wants to sell. Check your emotions at the door and bring the two together. That's my job.
Very good. That's good advice. It's very true. Simplify it down. Our job is not to make it harder. You know, I think there are some realtors who think this way. If I could create a mess, okay, that's not even there, and then I get to show how cool I am and important I am by cleaning it up. You know? So if we just get back to the fact that our job is to actually avoid the messes and avoid the emotions and avoid the challenges best we can, then that's better than making them and cleaning them up. Yeah, so thank you for that, Kim. I appreciate that. That's a really good point. Okay, you want to turn the channel? Head nods, or we got one more thing to say? Feel free to weigh in anytime you want, okay? All right, well, if not, then we'll go to page 166. And now we're up to almost 60 of us on the coaching this morning. Yes. Okay, Mike, we'll catch you next time. All right, let's go to my share screen, and we should be looking at this chapter. Okay. So often, the reason why I put this together, guys, is I was just sharing little simple principles that mentors have taught to me. And so I just wrote them down and kind of organized them. So often, you see right here, often lessons of life become key in business building. And our life experiences often shape how we view things and approach challenges. Would you agree to that? Like, you know, life is teaching you a lot of things, but certainly how you approach challenges in business. Okay. So in our clients, do they appreciate your life experiences? Yes. And they when we recognize a bigger picture, we seem to relate better, to their situation. So that's the reason. Well, of course, life is much more than being successful at business. I just kind of making a note that this is not, life's purpose is not to be successful in business. Okay. That's not what life's purpose is. However, there are any doubt that our careers can impact our quest to live a happy life. I think that's very true. I think if you're happy at work, you're successful at work. And if you're successful at work, you tend to provide better and things work out a little better there. So they're definitely intertwined, aren't they? Perhaps this is why I'm passionate about what we're trying to do at Berkshire Hathaway. I see, sorry, get that off of there. I just think about the contrast of those who go home from work feeling maybe minimized in other environments or misunderstood or expendable versus those who go home feeling supported, cared for, and valued? Do you know people in your circle of life that go home from work feeling misunderstood, minimized, scared, or afraid, or expendable? Head nods. Yes. Okay, I do. Do you think that we could make a difference in our Brookshire family about the way we are, in our work family? I think, of course, we can. So I think all these little life lessons, I think they matter. Okay. And we're trying to build an environment at Brookshire that really builds people. I think that's what it is. I think we become better, sure, at our businesses, but I love being a better person. So the first principle here is gratitude, and I'd love your thoughts on this. If you took an inventory of everything that's right in your life, and you did this on a habitual basis, like every day or morning or multiple times a day, do you think that would help you? If you took an inventory of what's right in your life? Yes? Thank you for the head nods, you guys. It seems like if I had an image here and I had a scale, on one side, the challenges of my life, and the other side are the things that are right in my life. What if I forgot to put the things that are right in my life on the scale? Would I then perceive that life is more challenging than it really is? Yes. So this may sound simple or even a little silly, but the habit of pausing every morning to reflect on the good things in our life has amazing, powerful effect to push out self-destructive things like low self-esteem, isolation, entitlement, loneliness, or feeling powerless. So the reason I bring this up first is I just think that's the first principle, is looking at things that are right in your life and being grateful. So can we even be grateful for an emotional, upset client? Yes, we can find gratitude in that. Can we find gratitude in a challenging, agent on the other side of a transaction? Yes, we can find gratitude in that. And I have a concept here, and I kind of wrote it out. If I had an edit here, I'd make 3 circles. So if you want to draw this out, think about these 3 circles. Let's draw one circle right here, or we're going to do 3 like a triangle. We're going to go 1, like 1, 2, 3. We're going to do a triangle. Okay. So at the top of the triangle, write gratitude in the circle. Gratitude in the circle. And then let's draw an arrow over to actions. And then let's draw another arrow to the other circle, which is on the bottom of the triangle, which is results. And this is kind of blending what I would call the core 4 with this principle of gratitude. So here's how the reason I wrote this endless reservoir of energy is that, I get teased a lot for having a lot of energy, and I even poke fun at myself because I know sometimes I'm overly excited, and I can't really help it, to be honest with you. So, I just am who I am, but I hope that what I practice is a lot of gratitude, and it serves me a lot of energy up, and it gets me to move, it gets me to do things, and hopefully to help people, and then that gets me this fulfillment. So over results over here, I wrote fulfillment, and fulfillment breeds gratitude, so if I could just do that again. So I would say, so gratitude, action, results, and fulfillment breeds back again gratitude. And so that's what I was trying to explain here, is it's this endless reservoir because it continues to fill up. Yes, Paige, never apologize for having great energy. Yeah. Paige, if you don't know the story, it's a quick story. It was like middle school, and I came home, and someone had said, I have ADD, and I didn't know what it is. My dad's a doctor. So I'm like, Dad, do I have ADD? And he said, son, who told you that? And I don't know, someone at school told me I have too much energy or something like that. He's never apologized for having, more energy than anyone else. And I just went forward with okay, Dad, like I just believed it. And so it's always served me well, is to find, passions in life and things like that. So, and we feed off that great energy. I hope so. And it doesn't become annoying, you guys. But so how is this really done? I think I'd like to be able to point to this concept that there's a lot of great things going on in our lives and that we're grateful for where we live and the people around us. And I mean, my goodness, it's just endless, the relationships that you have. And this is why I think Brookshire's more than a real estate company. I just think it's an ideal that we foster a place of high professionalism, but also safety for people to grow. And you can't grow without making a mistake. So if you're afraid to get out on a limb because it might mean that you do it wrong, then we're never going to stretch. So I just think that that's what we're after here. And so, let's take some inventory, like maybe answer a couple of these questions for me. How many people support you in your business? Just start writing a quick list, whatever comes to mind. Let's just like 10 seconds. Who supports you? How many people support you in your business? Like write that list out. Yeah, certainly our families do, but who supports you? Okay. How many buyers and sellers have trusted you with real estate transactions? Can you think of them? Do you see their faces? Do you know their names? Who have trusted you enough to refer you? Remember, they referred you. Like you didn't, necessarily earn everything in this equation of getting a referral or a transaction. I mean, somebody did something for you. And yeah, Julie, your team, we could go on and on. Look, if you're not talking about, other day I was talking to a loan officer about his business. He has 5 people that work intimately with him every single day. 5. That doesn't count, the brokerage in which he works for. There's 5 people there. Do we think about all those processors with our lenders? What about title and the processors there? There's 60 staff at Brookshire. There's 60 staff and 17 leaders at Brookshire, just on that one side. So there's a lot of places for gratitude within business and within life. Okay. Really quickly on this hexagon lesson, I'm going to go to the other one. I'm not going to spend as much time on all of these, but the reason why there's 6 principles, just to remind you here, is these are principles of change. So the first one is a mindset, and because affirmations build mindset. So this is my positive affirmation. I have a great ability to find gratitude and express gratitude. That's my affirmation. And then what's my key question? Do I invest my time in expressing my sincere gratitude? So, because if I put this, what is gratitude if it's not expressed? What is it? What's gratitude if it's not expressed? It's a mindset that doesn't, it's like potential, to me, yes, like thought. It has potential power. It doesn't really have like the cylinders firing. Okay. Who can help me? Look, this is what I wrote. You don't have to write my answers, but who can help me? I said, I can. What's over here? Schedule my first task. How about let's try 5 straight days of expressed gratitude. So I don't mean this to be like prospecting all the time, because I know we're in a business setting, but this is just telling people around you that you appreciate them. That's all. So I could, hey, well, whatever, try that 5 straight days and see what happens. Let's do the next one. What can I learn from this? I can learn how to sincerely express gratitude. How will I measure this? I could count the number of days I could do this. So that's my answers to the 6. Sometimes in a coaching session when we're live, so we could try this right now if you want to, grab your phone, and the first person you thought of that you're so grateful for, you send them a text message and you say, I was in a business meeting this morning and we were talking about people that we're grateful for, and you came to mind. And you send that text message out to them. You're the one who came to mind first. And I just wanted you to know that I'm very grateful for you in my life, and hit send. Now, what we did is we took gratitude, which is so powerful for you, and we put it out there. And it's when we expressed it, it has power. And what's interesting, every time we do this, someone will say to me, the person I just texted said something like, I really needed that today. And then we wonder, my goodness, if it was that meaningful to this person, is there someone else it'd be that meaningful to? Why have I not done this, better in my life? Okay. Okay. Let me know if you get any, something worth sharing after you send that. Okay. All right, let's do the next principle. This is a really important one. It's actually, I have this here on my desk. It's part of a decoration. Angie, by the way, if you guys don't know that Angie Larkin's amazing at decorating, she's got a beautiful house right out of like Better Homes and Gardens. It's amazing. I've been to her home many times. It's a beautiful place. But in her love and caring for me, frankly, I think she was trying to make my office nice, and she did. And she brought me this sphere. So it's reminded me of something. I said about a decorative, sphere that sits on my desk. But it reminds me of multiple perspectives. So what I try to remember, I'm going to stop sharing for a second, is that anytime that there's an issue or a problem, I try to see it this way. So I don't try to see it this way or this way. So there's not one side or two, okay, what there really is different perspectives on the issue. So anything that becomes a problem or a challenge, I try to see it from an object lesson like this sphere. So you can see it. There's so many different points of view. I can even cut it and slice it and know there's layers. What this does is it forces me to try to have a better discovery. So in other words, ask more questions, because if I'm only seeing it like this or this, then I need to start asking questions so I can have a better understanding of what the problem is. Okay. So when someone comes with a really emotional or hard problem or challenge, a lot of times the best thing to do is to ask questions. Don't make statements. Ask questions. Even the obvious, like, you seem to be very upset. Could you tell me why that is? Or I could ask other more pertinent, specific things like, did you ask so-and-so? Or what more did you find? Were you able to do this? Really, it's just question-based, okay? So that's this respect different points of view, because the world is not only seen through your pair of eyes. Isn't that true? Yeah, that's true. So we should have a broader discovery. So I'd highlight that in the middle of that paragraph there. So broaden your discovery, because you'll get a more accurate solution. So that's the effect of having perspective, is you get a more accurate solution. Write this down too. Be more interested in what is right and not who is right. Just chase truth. So maybe that's another thing to write down. Chase truth. Be more interested in what is right, not who is right. And my affirmations here on the blanks: who can help me? I can. Next scheduled task. Next time I have an idea, concept, or concern is expressed, that would be my first task. What do I need to learn? Patience and understanding. How can I measure progress? That people feel heard and valued around me. That would be how do I measure it on 168. Okay. Next one is the Oz principle. Write this down. This has come from the Oz principle book. Let me find it really quick. I think I have it in here somewhere. Oh, shoot. Maybe I don't. Huh. Okay. It's called the Oz principle. Okay, stop looking. Should have had that out ready. No, it's not behind me. Okay, so it's called the Oz principle, and it's a business book. It's about running business, and so the author is simply saying that we've got these characters, and we've all been these characters, I think, in our lives. So who are the characters? Well, first of all, it's Dorothy as the star, right? Okay. Has anyone not seen The Wizard of Oz? Anyone? Like, this would be kind of like interesting, maybe it's a generational thing, but even younger folks have seen The Wizard of Oz, right? Okay, so we've all seen it, yes? Okay, We've all seen it. That'd be weird if I found someone who didn't like go watch that immediately. You know, oh yeah, it's classic. Like, you know, first film that was in color. You know, like wasn't it like 1950 something? Does anyone know facts about Oz? Okay, so Dorothy was lost. The Tin Man was different, and the Scarecrow wasn't smart enough, and the Lion was afraid. And so these really represent, in this great wisdom of this story, us at different points of our life. Agreed? So let me get real estate specific, because you know a lot of you are on coaching for like the first time, and you're thinking, geez, is this what coach is going to be like? Are we going to talk about these theories and concepts? Well, look, if you're afraid to learn dot loop, then don't worry about it. I mean, that's just the Scarecrow in the movie, right? And we already know what happens at the end of the movie, right? He's awarded he's a great scholar, right? And he gets a degree. And the thing is, he's always was like this. So we can learn dot loop. We can learn forms. We can learn technologies. I mean, we can do this. Okay. It's really a great book. The Oz Principle is a fantastic book. I'd highly recommend it. I did a really deep dive into this book, like, was it like 7 years ago? So when it relates to business, go down to that last paragraph. Dorothy. So I can better plan, and I don't have to put my hopes in a wizard. You know, and sometimes this wizard is that deals are just going to show up to me. You know, like I'm just going to look busy, stay busy, walk the golden path, and deals will just happen. Well, doesn't happen that way, because there is no Wizard of Oz. You know, we need to have a better plan. And the Scarecrow, of course, I have learned many valuable complex things. I can learn anything. Tin Man says my differences make me unique and therefore special and more valuable. So look, watch yourself saying things like, well, I just am this way. Now you've caught me saying this, but it works if it's positive, guys. It doesn't work if it's negative, because it's negative affirmation. So don't say things like, well, I'm just not good at forums, you know, or I'm just not good at technology. You know, if you say you're really not good with people, we should probably talk. Just, yeah, reach out to your manager. Maybe we need to have one of those like life discussions, because it's going to be really impossible to be good at real estate if you're not good with people. Okay. But, you know, be careful of what I'm trying to say is be careful of the story you tell yourself. Okay. Because that's kind of what the Tin Man did. You know, he didn't see his differences as a positive thing. He saw it as a negative thing. Like, I don't have a heart. And what's so ironic, again, about this movie is that didn't Tin Man wasn't he have the softest demeanor? Wasn't he very caring? And yet he believed that he just didn't have a heart. This is us, guys. This is us in our mirror, you know? So be careful what you tell yourself. And have we all had fears? I mean, the lion, you know, everyone loves the lion because he's funny. You know, how could a lion, you know, so powerful, be so scared of everything? You know? But we're this way, because we really are lions. You know, like our maker made us that way. So anyway, I hope this is this okay? Like, this is really different chapter than all the other chapters. Is it too Sunday school? Anyway, you guys give me some feedback later. If you want a little pivot or something, I am going to try to mesh in, you know, like some real practical real estate stuff in these coaching sessions. But I think it matters. You know, when I'm having one-on-one, I often refer to these concepts. Okay, let's go to the next page. The next page is remember who you are. This is my own like life lesson being a parent. And look, I just took a screenshot of my phone this day. So let me tell you the quick story. So my 19-year-old daughter, Michaela, she's now 22, 23. She called her mom. She was in tears. My daughter, Michaela, is my third daughter. I describe her as a very, very kind. She's so kind, constantly worried about everybody else. She had an ability all through high school to like like make friends with the people who struggled a lot in life. And we were worried as parents because her friends, were like skipping school or, not making good choices. And this became like her friends. And so we were worried. So anyway, she calls me and she's in tears. And Tammy had put her on speakerphone. So I listened to this and said, her coworkers are saying things about her really hurt her feelings. And so she walked out. She's very distraught. And so we listened to this whole conversation. So next paragraph, admittedly, for a fraction of a second, I did consider going down there and straightening things out. I can't help it. I'm still a dad, I mean, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't talk to me that way. So I was getting ready to get in the car. But of course I knew after, I calmed down a little bit, I couldn't do that. So I needed to coach my daughter on how to deal with this. Well, the call ended before I could really counsel with her at all because her bosses called her. And she goes, Dad, I got to go. He's calling me, And I said, all right. And I hung up. And I was like, I didn't get a chance to help, So I just really sent this text message. It's not, I think it's got spelling errors in it and stuff like that. But this is what it says. First of all, never forget who you are. And no one else defines you. Only you can do that. So when people say things like bad to you, like you gotta delete that. Be careful of the story you tell yourself. Rid the negative fast. Instead, channel your strong faith. You are a leader. You love people. You are kind. You face challenges with courage. You forgive. You learn, and you win. I was just trying to I don't want her to believe what someone might be saying about her. Does this come up sometimes in business? Yeah, unfortunately it can. And, it breaks my heart to think that someone might be carrying around this. So the reason it's hidden here is because I'm trying to tell you what I would tell my daughter, what I would tell someone I love very deeply is that don't forget who you are and no one else defines you. You define you. So be careful of the story that you tell yourself. What I was afraid of is that she was going to start telling herself what her disgruntled coworkers, or frankly, they're just immature. This is retail, guys. This is she worked for a clothing store in the mall. Okay. So these are just young kids trying to work together for the first time in their life. And they, who knows how they lash out at challenges or just working with people. And they said things they should not have said. And Michaela was trying to learn how to, I hope I don't sound too much like a father who only sees their daughter for perfection, but I'm going to say it anyway. Kayla is a very disciplined worker. I could tell that she could, be a bull in a china shop a little bit. Like she's going to outwork people. And if you're not careful, it's not to make people look bad. And I think when they're young like that, they get really sensitive. And anyway, that was their scenario. So anyway, I hope that helps you, or at least helps someone around you. And thanks for the positive comments, you guys. So let's do a couple more and then we're out of time. The next one is on 171, and it's the concept that you're born to become more. And really this goes along with, let me see if I can find this. Let's find it really quickly. If everything that we go through in business, go look at page 189. If you got your book. So if we kind of blend 189 with we're born to become more, then maybe it doesn't matter like the outcome of a transaction. That it just matters if we really are becoming more. Are we growing in it? Are we learning from it? Because you can never lose if you always see the lesson in it. So, if you combine humility and this willingness to learn something with the understanding that I was born to become more than I am today, then everything in front of me now has a reason. Okay. So this is a little poem I wrote. I try not to get emotional myself here. Geez, but this was written for one of my daughters, who was going off, on her great adventure of college. I'm empty nesting now. So this is what it says. It says, embark empowered wherever you go when God's gifts become unstowed. Looking up, we all long for more. Keep doing what you've never done. You'll arrive, albeit a little sore. Then you can look down on where you once were and learn life's greatest lesson, that you were born to become more. It's just this, I hope, an innate belief in all of us that you have learned a lot of hard things in the past and you can still continue to do that. Again, watch your mentality, like be careful. If you say things like, I can't, or that's not me, be very careful, because you're probably putting up your own walls and your own boundaries in your own life. And we don't want to do that. And thanks for the comment there, Joe. Sometimes the taller we stand, the more people we want to bring down. So be careful. People are sensitive around us. And so if you try to see things through others' perspectives and like that, I think you're pretty safe, because you're going to naturally be protective of all people, keep doing what you've never done. I like that. Okay. Thanks, Judy. I don't know how we're going to get to a place you've never been unless you do something you've never done. I don't know how you're going to do that. So if you're going to do something you've never done, it's going to be uncomfortable every time. And I think that's all right to be uncomfortable. So we can improve, we can learn, we can apply, we can fail, we can learn again, we can cross finish lines, we become more. So I think we just need the mentality in our minds to be okay with all of that. Okay. We have time for one more. Let's do one more on 172. A lot of you guys know I try to run every morning. It doesn't happen every morning, but I am a lot happier when I run in the morning. And I try to get outside and just enjoy being outside. I don't really like treadmills much, but I like being outside. And so I just love the cool mornings. It's peaceful. I love the smells of the air. And I just like to get, breathing, and moving. So one of my running coaches in the beginning, I was trying to run a marathon and I, was scared to death. And my brother was a mentor in all this process, but he always told me to run tall. And it's if you kind of notice long distance runners, they're not leaning forward. They're standing like straight up, and their head is straight, and they're not over their chest. They're very centered. The reason for this is that when you run tall in the middle section there is that we have better leverage, we have better power. It's even easier to go uphill. Like you don't lean into a hill. If you lean into a hill, then it's the lower back muscles will end up not enduring. So short distances, that's not what we're talking about. So we're talking about long distance. So the concept of enduring, there's metaphors in all of this, guys, metaphors in life and business across all of this. But I think it's such a great message that when things get tough and challenging and you've got to last, you got to endure, then remember to run tall. And look, I just wrote down character. You want to make a note on this page, right? Character. Character is our ability to run tall when things are really challenging. And we take small steps. Like if you lean, if your stride is too long, then you're going to find yourself in a sprinting mode. I noticed, was it Darren Hardy yesterday or something? A couple of these guys I try to follow here and there, but he proposed an argument that multitasking is very self-destructive. I don't know if any of you guys follow him, but this is what I'm kind of getting at, is the way we run long distances have the same principles to how we go about business. And you're better off, being the tortoise, not the hare. It's like you're disciplined daily. It's consistency. We don't overextend. If we overextend, you got nothing. And there have been times in my life where I've done just that. And man, I'm exhausted. Tammy says I sometimes can be high maintenance. And I say, no, I'm a fine oiled machine, So she's probably more right. but not about me. Anyway, what a great message is to stand tall and run tall. Didn't you guys run? Didn't you have fellow runners? Do you get out and run? Anybody? Okay. So you probably kind of understand this concept of running tall. You back is straight, and then when you're on a hill, two things. If you're in competition, passing people on a hill is the time to do it. That's where you pass people. If you're racing, pass on the uphill, not the downhill. And then take smaller strides, like increase your RPMs and not strides. Okay, so what is this in real estate? I got to think this is all the daily disciplines that we need. Are we contacting people on a daily basis? I'd rather you have one meaningful contact a day than try to have one day a month that you try to prospect well. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. So it's just this run tall, and this character behind all of this is the heart. It's the reason we reach out to people. If you don't already know that Brookshire is the better way and the better place, then keep studying about why we are that, and you'll build, a real conviction, frankly, about who we are here, and that buyers and sellers need you, and they need you more than anyone else in the game right now, because you're more equipped to help them. And that's what this is all about. And that's the character of all of this. Okay, let's do takeaways. This again is kind of a little different, coaching topics than before. So I don't know. I'm looking for some feedback for sure after this one, because this next chapter is riddled with all these like short little tips. Okay, so let's do some takeaways. Anything stand out today for you personally that rose to the top that you'd like to try to improve or implement? Anyone want to just share all that? There's still about 50 of us on the call. We got about 1 minute left. You want to share some quick takeaways? I'll leave you some time to think about that.
Will?
Yes, ma'am.
You know what I saw at our high school here a while ago? It was 2 words, and all it said was "be kind." And I would say that's 2 words just to remember. And the first person you need to be kind to is yourself. I think we're such harsh critics of ourselves. And if we're kind to ourselves first and foremost, it'll be easier to be kind to others. So that's my 2 words for the day. Be kind.
I love it. I love it. I remember what Diane Reinhardt said she learned coming back from her hike. She said to be kind, be kinder to people, be more patient with people. And yeah, we're part of that. That's kind of why we should watch what we say to ourselves. Be careful what you're telling yourself, because it's the story you tell yourself is the one you're going to believe. And characters, our ability to run tall when we face life challenges. Thanks, John. Sharing gratitude daily, really powerful, Kira. And I know you guys are good at this. I know Kira is actually good at this. If you guys don't know Kira, she's up in Park City, but she's a very grateful person. Kelly, treat people the way you want to be treated. Very good, Kelly. Thank you. And Paige, all topics discussed hit home today. Good. I'm glad to hear that. And I need to say I'm sorry first. Oh, that's hard. It's the hardest thing to do. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the wrong, then let's be a man, or be a lady, be a woman. That's what I tell my daughters. There's girls and there's women, and you're a lady too in this. But love this session. Truly need it. Okay, thank you guys. Well, have a fantastic day. We do love you. I love you. Pray for your success all the time, and contemplate how I can help. If there is something that you want to talk about, if you notice that we are coming up kind of towards the end of our coaching manual, we've only got 2 chapters left. I really encourage you to go back and listen to some of the coaching sessions we've had if you've missed them, because they're all recorded and I think they've been fantastic. And we've got CE classes coming up. Don't forget to have those on your calendar. They are all company event. So all hands, I think we'll likely see 200 plus live and probably another 100 on Zoom. So that's the mandatory class and the code of ethics, which we'll all need. Anyway, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, you guys. It is an honor for Sharon and Craig and Mike and Kevin, for all of us to be your brokers, and Kim. It's an honor. I think if you really got to the heart of it, we are very honored to work with you on a daily basis. So Go out there and help somebody because they truly need you and you're the best one for the job. Okay. Have a great day. Joe, you can stop recording.